So I know we lightly touched on the wide receiver room and kind of what we expect, especially with the latest injury update. Well, we're going to dive into it and do our typical room review because I think this guy is going to jump up and be one of the next top guys on the team. So let's dive into that. Before we do that, this video here is sponsored by our partners over at BetUS. Check them out. Link in the description below. 125% bonus on your deposits up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Got to give them a look. So check them out. BetUS in the description below as well as the pinned comment. So let's talk about the wide receiver room because as the season is going to start to evolve, boy, we're going to have some questions only because we're bringing back so much production, which is the biggest blessing for this Oklahoma offense, right? We know the questions around O-line. We got to know the question around quarterback. But running back and wide receiver, we're bringing back all of our production. I mean, tight end, there's questions there. We've got a lot of replacements there. So 3 positions, we got replacement. 2 positions, which are probably the most critical to me, is going to be those skills guys. They're the ones that are going to make things a lot easier for the quarterback. They're going to make, as long as the line gives him just a second or two to be able to get rid of that ball, there's a very good chance that the wide receivers and the running backs will do all the work for them. So we're excited about that. So let's dive into production that we're returning. Let's talk about the wide receivers that will step up. And let's go from there. All right, let's look at this returning production because I think this is the key thing, right? When I did my digging and research on it, Oklahoma was one of the tops in the SEC in returning wide receiver production going into the season. And the numbers now, even though we have to change them, right? We were coming in at about 3,100 yards in production and 27 touchdowns. Initially, things kind of got a little bit, less because we lost our guy, Jaden Gibson, which we have no full confirmation on him. I want to say that now. We know he's hurt. There hasn't been any type of reports of what the injury is, how long the timetable or anything. The assumption is something serious. So I haven't heard any whispers at all. So right now, we're just hoping for the best, and we'll wait and see whenever Brent Venables and staff decide to disclose what said injuries are, right? So we'll go from there. But guys, remember, it's football, it's fall camp. Unfortunately, things like this happen. Attrition will hit us long-term anyway. We just got to hope that we have enough guys that are ready to step up, in which this wide receiver room feels like Emmett Jones has done what needs to be done to make sure that we have enough pieces in place. So, again, returning production, Nick Anderson comes in here at 798 yards. Jalil Farouk right behind him at 694. Andrew Anthony at 429. And then Brennan Thompson comes in at 241 yards, right? So, when you move our guy Jaden Gibson off of the list here, you're sitting here with 2,791 yards, 22 touchdowns returning. And that's adding in Deion Burks, who brings in 47 catches, 629 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So, the top dude in this room, honestly, in my personal opinion, should be Nick Anderson. He's your number 1. Deion Burks going into the slot, he's probably going to be 1B with Nick Anderson being 1A. The talent there is just ridiculous with both. And you may have seen it on Locked On Sooners, when we talked about the freakishness of Deion Burks. The kid's ridiculously talented. And so him and Nick Anderson's probably your top 2. Let's talk about the top 3. But first, a word from our sponsor. Special shout out to our sponsor for this video, BetUS. So they've got a great promotion going on. If you decide to sign up, you can check them out with the link in the description below. 125% on your first 3 deposits. Restrictions do apply, up to $2,000. And the cool thing about BetUS, they've got a fantastic setup when it comes to their betting site, right? And as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of opportunities and content in here. But, of course, we got college football, and we're coming up on the season. One of the things you're going to want to do is get yourself in there and get some bets on this college football. So, as we look at here, get the SEC's conference futures. One of those pay attention to here is, of course, Oklahoma sitting at plus 3,000. That's a bet that your boy's going to take because no matter what, we win that, $10 bet, $300, $100 bet, $3,000. I am willing to bet on my team. I know you are too. Definitely bet responsibly, but check them out. Go look in the link in the description below. 125% bonus if you sign up with us. Even better, you'll get 10% back on your net loss twice a year. That's some of the best, options out there in the industry, and they're one of the fastest payout sites in the industry. So check them out. BetUS. Let them know that I sent you. So 1A, 1B, Nick Anderson, Deion Burks. Now, who's going to be that number 3? Because there have been reports and stuff that it looked like Jaden Gibson was taking that spot. But now that he's hurt, who has the opportunity to step up? So the good thing for Oklahoma is that we've got a plethora of options. You still got Jalil Farouk, almost 700 yards last season, right? He's put up numbers his entire career, and he's not a player that we can really just, be trifled with and pretend like he's not, solid. He had 466, the season before, and then his past season with the 694. Jalil, if he controls the fumbles, he might be that guy. Andrell Anthony with this 429, honestly, he was on pace to get 1,000 yards, right? I mean, the Texas game is when he got hurt. He was pacing for it. And because he's a reliable catcher, right? 27 catches, 429 up to the Texas game. He only had 1 touchdown with that deep pass from Dylan Gabriel, but what he was doing was just catching passes. He was doing what was needed to move the chains. And then Nick Anderson was the one that was taking everything else to the house. Him and Drake Stoops. And so you can't be mad about that. So with Jalil Farouk and Andrell Anthony as options, who else, right? Brennan Thompson, health was the big concern with him last season. He was dealing with some hammy stuff, but supposedly he's looking good. He's feeling healthy. He could step up as another receiver on the outside. I mean, he's small dude, 5'9", 5'10", but he's really fast. He's another track guy. You could even move Burks to the outside, move Brennan in. But there's another dude to keep in consideration. It's J.J. Hester, the wide receiver that's from Booker T. Washington, Tulsa, right? J.J. Hester, he transferred to Oklahoma, from Missouri. So we asked the question, all right, we got the Missouri wide receiver in. He dealt with injuries and stuff last season. Except Missouri, he had 12 catches, 225, 2 touchdowns. But then last season, he got 1 catch for 13 yards, but then he was hurt for the rest of the season, basically. But the big thing with the J.J. Hester is 6'4", 200 plus pounds, runs a 4.40 when he's healthy. That's another option at wide receiver that Oklahoma could honestly leverage. He's a fast dude and he can catch. We just got to get him healthy. And if he comes in this bad boy healthy, imagine 6'4" Nick Anderson, 6'4" J.J. Hester next to each other. And then Burks right there at the slot, and then bring another slot with the Brennan Thompson. Have those 4 on the field together. The best part is you can still rotate with other guys like the Jalil Farouks, the Andrell Anthonys, and mainly because you need to make sure they're healthy as well. You go back another layer with Jaquez Petaway, and then you can bring in the young guys. Ivan Carrion, right? Zion Kearney, who we've been hearing some really good stuff about as well. And then the younger dudes, Zion Ragin, right? As well as KJ Daniels, which KJ Daniels is hurt right now. I think he came in a little banged up, but that's 2 more track dudes that are very shifty and hard to catch. But the wide receiver room is a lot deeper, which is really good. And then, of course, you can move a Bauer Sharp and a Caden Helms out if you need to. So that's kind of what that room looks like. Hop in the comments. Let me know. Who do y'all think will take over the wide receiver room? Who do you think is going to be the one that steps up and gets it for Jaden Gibson? I want to hear from you all, especially now that we've got some time to really evaluate it. I'm going to put my vote out there. I think that it can be Hester, and I'm pretty confident that he's going to be able to get himself in a healthy mode to where he can go in there and do that. If you made it this far, like the content, go ahead, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We would love for y'all to join this family of Sooner fans, talking OU football, SEC, and college football in general, having a blast doing it. All right, shout out to our sponsor of this video, BetUS. Check them out in the link in the description below, as well as the pinned comment. 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Check them out. Put in some wages for the Sooners. Show them a little love because you know that Oklahoma's going to shock the world. We got another. We'll be putting the previews out for the rest of the week. We're going to go through tight end. We're going to go through all the defense. And then we'll start previewing the opponents. All right. We'll talk soon. Peace.